The Ford Performance EV6 24-pound injectors here will be a reliable and affordable replacement for all 05 to 10 3-valve GT owners out there, along with all 99 to 04 V6 and 4-valve owners looking to replace a faulty set of injectors. Now, this set of 8 will feature that EV6 style body, along with the US car connectors for all right around the mid $200 price point. Install, according to the site guide, is going to get a middle of the road 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. Take a couple of hours or so to swap out from start to finish, as we'll show you later in the video. Now, the 24-pound options from Ford Performance are one of the most affordable on the site at this size, and they do feature the 11 to 18 ohm impedance, along with an EV6 body style and US car connector, which will be plug and play for the S197 and early 4 valves. Now, these would also make for a solid upgrade for all 2-valve GTs and again, all V6 Mustangs prior to 2011. Now, I say that because the 24-pound options from Ford Performance are going to be one of your more affordable options on the site at this size. They do feature that 11 to 18 ohm impedance, along with an EV6 body style and US car connector, which again will make these plug and play for the S197s out there and early 4-valve Mustangs. Now, these would also make a solid upgrade for all 2-valve GTs and again, the V6 Mustangs prior to 2011. So if you have an 87 to 04 GT or a 4-liter V6 and you plan on running maybe a heavy bolt-on naturally aspirated setup or maybe a very mild boost or nitrous setup and you need an affordable option, well, again, the 24-pound injectors here from Ford Performance, I would say, are certainly worth a look. Now, these injectors would be good for setups, maybe if you're sticking around that 300 wheel range, depending on your fuel pressure and of course your duty cycle. And also if you're boosted versus naturally aspirated, this is gonna change your requirements a little bit. Now, just a quick heads up here though, guys, those pre-1999 cars would need to grab the US car adapter kit here on the site, as the earlier Gen 2-valve Mustangs do use a slightly different style injector plug. But again, if you are staying with that 99 to 2010 year range, this will be a plug and play job that really shouldn't test you too much in the garage or driveway, depending on what you're working on. But now to give you a better idea of just what you're in for the injector swap, feel free to check out our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
The tools you'll need for this project are a 1/4-inch ratchet, an 8mm socket, a small flathead screwdriver, a quick disconnect tool for the fuel line, some clean motor oil, and some sort of cloth or rag to clean up any spills that come out of the fuel rails. Hi everyone, today we're installing a set of fuel injectors on our Mustang, so let's get started with the uninstall first. The first thing we're going to do is disconnect our main connector here, simply by pushing down on the release tab and pulling it away. Then we just move that out of the way. Now we can disconnect the fuel injectors themselves. So just like before, push in on the release tab and pull the connector off. We've got 4 on each side, so go ahead and disconnect all 8 of those right now. Now we can pull these hold down clips here off of these studs for the harness. And just push that out of the way. And we've got one hold down clip here on the driver's side. We pull that out of the way. Now we can remove this safety clip off of the fuel line. And we can disconnect the fuel line here using our quick disconnect tool, which you can pick up at just about any parts store. So put it inside on the spring. You'll need a rag for this because it will leak some fuel out of the line. So all you have to do is push in on the spring and then pull the fuel line off. Now we can go ahead and disconnect our valve using an 8mm socket and our ratchet. Now we can remove these 2 nuts on the hold down studs here, and 2 more on the other side using our 8mm socket again. Now with everything disconnected, we should be able to just lift up on the fuel rails and pull all the injectors out at one time. Now we can go ahead and remove the spring clips that hold our injectors to the fuel rail using a small flathead screwdriver. Simply pry them away. And pull them out. Now that spring clips are removed, we can go ahead and just pull the injectors out of the fuel rail. Now one thing you do want to note, like we had one here where the seal did not come out of the fuel rail, make sure that you pull that out and that nothing is in the way of the new injectors going in. Now before we go any further, I just want to make a quick safety note here. Make sure that you are in a well-ventilated area and no smoking, of course. With that being said, let's get on to the installation of the new injectors, starting with lubricating the O-rings on the injectors with a small amount of fresh motor oil. Now it doesn't take much. We're just going to coat the outside edge of the O-rings and then insert them into the fuel rails and reinstall the spring clips to hold them in. Now we can go ahead and lubricate the other end of the injectors before we actually install them back into the vehicle. Now we can go ahead and install them into the vehicle. Now we can set this back on top and start installing the injectors back into the intake manifold. Now we can go ahead and push down on the fuel rail, making sure that the injectors all seat, and then reinstall our original hardware to hold them in place. And we'll tighten them down using our 8mm socket. Reattach our connectors. And reattach our harness hold downs to our studs. Now we can move to the other side. Now we'll reattach our connectors. Now we'll reattach our fuel line. Just make sure you push it in until it snaps in. Reattach our safety clip. And then reattach our module using the original hardware. Our harness hold down, and finally, our main connector. And that wraps up our review and install of the Ford Performance EV6 high flow fuel injectors at 24 pounds for the 99 to 04 V6, Cobra, Mach 1, and the 05 to 10 GTs. Thanks for watching, and remember, for all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.